Hello everyone and welcome back to Agatha Christie Hercule Poirot, the first cases. Last time we found out who the murderer was. And now we apprehend them in this. We have only two chapters left, chapter 8 and chapter 9. So that's why I stopped yesterday abruptly, because I was thinking, let's finish this today.
Ah,
Oh yeah, now I remember there was something about in the library, but can I get into the library? I can't, okay. Fair. Or not fair, but you know. Hmm. To storeroom. Oh yeah, there was a noise coming from storeroom. Why would Monsieur Sterling be in here cluttering around in the dead of night? Elisabeth up in the middle of the night making some amount of noise. I must find out the extent of his behavior.
Monsieur Starling.
Oh, Detective, I was just...
Please, I eagerly await to hear what reason you give for being in the storage room at this hour.
A butler's job is never...
I am no fool, monsieur. You have spun enough stories this weekend.
Honestly, Detective, you don't trust anyone.
And with good reason.
My patience has all but run out. What are you doing in here?
I've been thinking about my time with the family.
I often think on fond memories, but it does not take me to a storage room in the middle of the night.
There are many memories held within these walls. I just wanted to see them again.
Monsieur Sterling sounds as though he has plans on leaving the house. It sounded as though you were moving furniture in here.
I didn't realize the noise I was making.
Obviously. Were you preoccupied looking for another of the Major's medals?
Of course not. I already explained.
No, monsieur. You attempted to dupe me again into believing one of your stories.
Please, Detective. I know you know how it ended up in my possession. I was just trying to get some extra money together to send home. I can't lose this job. If Lady Van den Bosch found out...
Theft of a medal would be the very least of your problems.
You have done nothing but deceive and abuse your position in the house.
Deceive? I'm sorry that I lied to you about the medal.
Even when confronted, Monsieur Sterling still remains steadfast and refused to acknowledge what he has done.
Would you care to explain the fake telephone call? It was purely for my benefit, no?
Why would I fake a telephone call?
The same reason that Mademoiselle Rihanna dressed in the Major's jacket in the snow, to allow not only the guests but me to believe the Major was still alive.
I didn't kill him, Detective.
I know, monsieur, but I also know that you helped the one that did to cover their tracks.
It wasn't like that. We were just trying to help. She had no part in it.
Both you and Mademoiselle Johanna risk your freedom to help Elisabeth.
You never let on. How long have you known it was her?
Monsieur, I am Detective Hercule Poirot. I only show my hand when I deem it necessary.
You will be taking her away then?
She will stand trial for what she has done.
But you don't know the full story. She is just a servant in this house. If she is arrested, that will be the end for her.
If Mademoiselle was only protecting herself, as you both have claimed, she will surely be found innocent.
You have still not explained what you were doing in here.
The Major's military storage box.
The one that stored his medals.
Amongst other things, yes.
And those other things are?
I had to protect her. If you found it when searching the study, you would have carted her off then and there.
Whatever it is you have hidden, it will not remain that way for much longer.
Monsieur Stalin is obviously hiding something. I should perhaps conduct my own search for it instead of relying on his cryptic messages.
I need a moment.
One of the many sent carvings from around the house are bonded in a box. Why is this sent carving here? Oh, wasn't one of them missing? Sent carving.
Order and method. This will not get me in.
But the boss secret may be in the hidden room.
What a revelation!
The detached carving may lead to a door in this room. This would explain Archibald's presence. Storage room.
Some would say a lucky guess. I would say a moment of genius.
Archibald must have hidden items in the secret room. I presume this exit within here, somewhere. There appears to be nothing here. Aha, a hidden room. It seems there are more secrets in this house to discover. I am just... well traveled. The Major's military service box. It contains letters and keepsakes. An expensive looking lighter. It looks to have unfortunately been through a war. Come, my little Grisels. I believe we already know something about this mystery.
Aha.
Viscount. The last will and testament of the late Viscount. It seems he truly loved Angeline. Last will and testament declaration. I declare that I, Viscount Edwin van den Bosch, am of sound mind. This last will expresses my wishes without undue influence or duress. Article 1. In the event of my death, I hereby appoint my wife Cassandra van den Bosch as the executor of the Van den Bosch estate, and I leave the remaining wealth held in the Van den Bosch name to my only daughter, Angeline van den Bosch. Any outstanding debts, expenses of my last illness, funeral expenses and administration costs are to be paid from the Van den Bosch account at the National Bank of Belgium. To my daughter Angeline, you are the apple of my eye and the brightest star in the sky. Never allow your light to fade for even a moment. To my wife Cassandra, thank you for the many joyous years. We have laughed, and we have brought the most precious of gifts in this world together. I trust that you will protect her and prepare her for a future full of opportunity and hope. Viscount Edwin van den Bosch. Monsieur Victor Rocco and Petit Solicitors. Precious looking knife, likely belonging to the Major. Did we ever find the murder weapon? I think we did.
Magnifique.
The murder weapon has been found. Elisabeth must have used this in the study. Dr. Archibald, there's formal letter.
Is there something?
Viscount left belongings to Angeline.
I must take a different...
Major killed prisoners in the war. Wait a minute. Where did we find this? That from British Army in consequence of a crimes against humanity during a period of war. Additional detail. While serving overseas, a number of prisoners of war were being held under the authority and supervision of Major Felix Hagen. While in his care, the prisoners were executed, an insubordinate act that disobeyed direct orders. His actions have been deemed in direct violation of the British Army values and ethics, and consequently, Major Felix Hagen has been withdrawn from his position and will return to England. Major Hagen is to renounce all responsibility of his rank, return any and all uniform, and will return to civilian life. Pension due to received from British Army will hereby be revoked, and any benefits are to be stopped with immediate effect. John Wilson.
I cannot see the logic in this.
There's one connection somewhere.
Come, my little grey. pieces of the puzzle are finally coming together.
This lighter must belong to the Major. The arm symbol all but confirms this, but don't I already have this in my possession?
Another success.
And that is the
I
connection.
never doubted myself.
The lighter I found in the military box is certainly the Major's, meaning the other one is not.
There is no use lying anymore.
When I inspected the garden yesterday, I found a lighter I assumed belonged to the Major.
He always had his regiment lighter that he received in the war on his person.
And yet, it was not his regiment emblem that was engraved on it.
My father's. It must have fallen out of my pocket. You still have it, Detective.
Monsieur, you have stashed evidence, manipulated a crime scene, obscured my investigation, and yet it is a lighter that you worry about most?
If it is my path to end up behind bars for what I have done, so be it. It is Elisabeth that you cannot allow to be locked up without the truth being told. I have heard how you fought for that young maid before. Florette, is it? I only ask that you do the same for Elisabeth.
Although the cases differ greatly in severity, I can envision the similarities in how Mademoiselle Elisabeth will be treated by those in position of authority or social standing even before she is tried. It is my oath as an officer of the law to uphold justice and fairness. Mademoiselle must be given the chance to prove her innocence before the courts as any other suspect. The absent murder weapon.
You found it.
Even the secret area that has been created here is not concealed enough to stop Detective Hercule Poirot.
I couldn't just leave it at the scene for you to find.
The Major was killed by his own knife. The knife that protected his life during the war would eventually be the one that ended it.
It was in his holster when he attacked her. He had hold of her arm. What else was she meant to use to get him off of her?
I cannot imagine the Major would have given his knife so up easily. She must have been in close proximity to reach it. Perhaps he did attack her as she claims.
She didn't plan any of it, Detective. She was only defending herself.
That is what Mademoiselle told you?
She did, and I believe her. You think you knew the Major, but you had no idea. He was a monster and had more secrets than all of us combined.
That may be true, but that does not excuse what she has done.
Put yourself in her shoes for a minute. If a man like that had attacked me the way he did Lizzie, I would have done a lot worse to him.
Mademoiselle Elisabeth has told Monsieur Sterling a version of the events that suggests she was attacked by the Major. I struggle to believe that she would make such a story up, but then I also did not believe she could do such a thing as commit murder.
I need a moment.
The Major's bedroom window.
Things are beginning to become clearer.
If the only thing I found was Archibald's lighter, he must have collected something else. What else did Archibald collect from the garden?
I should not be surprised by my own skills of deduction.
Archibald dropped the murder weapon from the window, collected it, then hid it in the secret room.
There is no use lying anymore.
It was you that I saw in the garden that night.
When you asked me yesterday about seeing someone out there, I thought the game was up.
That does not explain what you were doing out there.
When Lizzie took me to the study, the knife was still in the Major's chest, and I knew I had to get rid of it. I dropped it out of the window, knowing no one would be going outside. It was fine for the time being, but I couldn't risk it being found when the snow melted.
So you collected it under the cover of darkness and stowed it away in here where you thought no one would find it.
After your questioning in the pantry, I knew you were onto something, and I couldn't leave it here.
And where did you plan on moving it to?
Honestly, I don't know.
Collecting the item and hiding it to save Elisabeth. He must truly want to protect her from the law.
There is no use lying anymore.
I have one last question. Why?
Why what? Why I would risk everything to help Lizzie?
Exactement.
Because she is family. If you were in that position, you would do the same.
I can assure you, monsieur, that I would not.
Then perhaps that says something about you, Detective. I would do anything for her, for any of my staff.
Even if it means crossing the boundaries of the law.
Without question.
The lengths that Monsieur Stalin would go to protect someone he considers family is admirable, but when those lengths break the very laws that are in place to protect the innocent, they cannot be ignored. Ashley, hello. I make Archibald pay. No, he was protecting the real killer. I ask that once your morning duties for the ladies of the house are complete, Mademoiselle Lehana and yourself wait in the staff quarters.
Aye, Detective, but please, you have to help Lizzie. It was all an accident. She doesn't deserve to spend the rest of her days behind bars because of that man.
If she is put behind bars, it is because that is what the courts have decided upon.
Detective, you can't be so cruel.
It is not cruelty, monsieur. It is the law.
You played Death on the Nile. It takes place in 1974. It's so weird. Poirot is not old. Now that you mention it, there was hints in the trailer. Why would they do that? It starts in a disco club. I can't wait to play it. I am thinking, what game should I continue Hercule Poirot? Or should I play something else? I can play, I have to check the Sherlock Holmes game. Then Phoenix Wright. And then the third detective game I have is I am thinking either London case or Orient Express. Definitely play Death on the Nile, I will. They give him a partner with an afro. You know, some people might think that afros are sexy. After all these further revelations, my mind is as busy as Monsieur Goulet's chocolate shop. I have all of the pieces of the puzzle to deduce why Elisabeth killed the Major. Now I must allow my little craziness to put them together. He collects golden mustaches. His mustaches diverge all the gold. After finding those documents in the hidden room, things are starting to fall into place as to why Elisabeth may have killed him. Disarmed, discharged.
Some would say a lucky guess. I would say a moment of genius.
The Major's financial struggles must have left him in need of a source of income. Who could the Major have turned to in his time of need?
I should not be surprised by my own skills of deduction.
Why there are golden mustaches scattered around the world and often behind puzzles, you have no idea. Welcome to the world of the detective puzzle genre. The Major needed the job to go ahead. It was the only way to guarantee money in his pocket. What could he do to ensure the job would be complete?
I must act magnifique.
To secure his payment, the Major must have ordered the attack at the strikes. What were the consequences of the Major ordering the first attack?
Things are beginning to become clearer.
The Major's actions unfortunately led to the death of Luke, and all for greed. Who would have been most affected by this?
Another success. I never doubted myself.
Elisabeth has probably lost more than anyone else involved. She may have sought her revenge.
The pieces of the puzzle are finally coming together.
This information would have destroyed his reputation if unveiled, a strong motive for blackmail. Elisabeth doesn't seem like the vengeful type, but all signs are pointing to her seeking revenge for her beloved Luke. Death Antenal uses a mind map just like this, but it's a different company. I am actually thinking what game should I play next. Should I continue straight with the detective genre or do something else? Because there are a couple of PlayStation 2 games I want to play. But then there is time. What comes to games, I am not lacking content. Question is just what I should play and when. If I am to confront Mademoiselle Elisabeth, I must be at my best and my little grey cells at their most alert. It is time to at least try and rest. I have no time to wallow in my lack of sleep. I must confront Mademoiselle Elisabeth and hopefully finally know the truth of what took place.
Detective Poirot, I'm glad you're awake.
Bonjour, mademoiselle. It has certainly not been a night of peaceful sleep. There is something that we must discuss.
Please, detective, I'm not sure I can take any more surprises like last night.
I'm afraid this may be the most upsetting of them all.
You have found Felix's killer, haven't you?
I have. And the guilty party will certainly come as a shock.
I take no great pleasure in telling you this, mademoiselle.
Detective, please.
It was Mademoiselle Elisabeth that was behind the Major's death.
You must be mistaken. Elizabeth could not do such a thing.
I assure you I am not. It is something I spent much of last night deliberating. When you spoke of the telephone lines being out of order, it made me question the conversation I thought I had heard Monsieur Sterling make with the Major before connecting the call to him.
But it hasn't been working all weekend.
Exactement, mademoiselle. That is when I knew I had once again been lied to.
On my way to speak with Monsieur Sterling and Mademoiselle Rihanna, I met Mademoiselle Elisabeth.
She was meant to be resting in the staff quarters. She has not been well.
I am afraid that was yet another lie, orchestrated to keep her from incriminating herself.
Why would you think that, detective?
I only managed a few words with her before we were quite abruptly interrupted by Monsieur Sterling.
I must admit, he has a habit of speaking over the other staff.
It was much more than merely disturbing our conversation. It was done with the intention to prevent Mademoiselle saying something that she should not.
So, Elizabeth killed Felix, and then Archibald helped her cover it up?
In its simplest form, oui. I have heard it directly from the horse's mouth.
You have spoken with Elizabeth already? Did she admit to it?
Not Elisabeth, but Monsieur Sterling.
Were you not woken last night by the tremendous amount of noise coming from the storage room?
I wasn't. What were you doing in there, detective?
It was Monsieur Sterling that I found in there. I was taken by some surprise to hear anyone awake at that hour.
What on earth was he doing?
He claimed he was merely reminiscing of his time with the family.
You don't believe him?
It did not take long for me to uncover the truth of why he was there, and the location of the Major's murder weapon.
Did you know of the hidden area within the storage room?
Hidden area?
A room that held all of the Major's secrets.
I had no idea. Did you discover the reason for his blackmail?
I did. Were you aware he was dishonorably discharged from the army?
Dishonorably? What does that mean?
I will not hide the truth from Mademoiselle, but I will try and be as delicate as possible with the news of the Major's prior actions. I am sure you are aware of Monsieur Zacchaeus' troubles he faces from his time in the war.
Yes, Gideon told me about the conversation you had. It is really quite upsetting.
Zachariah was adamant of the Major's cruelty during the war, but the extent was not known until now. He killed a number of prisoners, men that were friends of Zachariah.
Surely not. He would not do such a thing. They must have been trying to escape.
I am afraid not. They were in fact unarmed.
Oh, detective.
It is the reason he was discharged, denied his military pension, and I believe the reason he fled England.
He had been such an important part of my life for so long, but I feel like I hardly knew him.
Spencer Sterling was adamant of Mademoiselle Elisabeth's innocence.
Innocence? You said it was she that killed him.
It was her hand that held the knife, but he was quite insistent it happened in self-defense.
In all of the years I have known her, she has barely even raised her voice. I cannot believe she would do something like that out of malice.
The whole truth cannot be known until Mademoiselle Elisabeth has told her story.
I allowed my perception of her character to conceal any thought of her involvement. It seems I am not the only one. The time has come to confront Mademoiselle Elisabeth.
Will you allow me to be present?
I think that is an excellent idea. I hope your presence will calm her and will perhaps allow her to speak more freely.
Please, detective. I know she has done a terrible thing, but I beg of you to give her the time to explain herself.
I will offer Mademoiselle Elisabeth the fair trial that she deserves, as I would with any suspect.
Thank you, Detective Poirot.
Would you bring Mademoiselle Elisabeth to the study, where we will not be disturbed?
Of course, I'll find her immediately.
I believe that Monsieur Sterling has already told me about the events that occurred between Mademoiselle Elisabeth and the Major. I do not believe she would have had to do what she did if he had not attacked her and pushed her to the point where she feared for her life. I must listen to her story, the truth, and only then can her punishment be determined.
Mademoiselle Elisabeth, merci for joining us.
Miss Angeline said you requested to see me urgently.
We have some serious matters to discuss, and I would like to waste no further time.
Oh, yes, Detective.
How are you feeling, mademoiselle?
Still not quite myself.
I was surprised when Monsieur Sterling hurried you to assist Madame Vandenbosch last night.
I should not have avoided my duties for so long. The house does not stop because I'm feeling a little under the weather.
That is true, but you cannot be expected to complete all your tasks if you are not in the right frame of mind.
Honestly, Detective, it was best for me to not sit and wallow anymore.
My investigation has taken down many paths this weekend.
Have you been able to uncover who the blackmailer is?
The blackmailer's identity has been established, and they will pay the price for their crimes.
Wonderful news, Detective. You can put it all behind you now. You must be thrilled.
I would not say thrilled, knowing that such a close friend has betrayed us.
Mademoiselle is correct. What I have learned over this weekend is that people are not always as they appear. While they may give an impression of being a friend or ally, they can in fact be something completely different.
And, what of the Major's killer?
Well, mademoiselle, that is why I have asked you here now.
I posed a question to all of the questions. What their thoughts on the Major were. Now I extend that question to you.
I'm not quite sure what you want me to say, Detective.
Your honest opinion is all I ask, and, s'il te plaît, do not hold back. No one else felt it necessary.
We only spoke when there was something in the house to be done. We did not speak of interests or pastimes.
You knew of his work with Monsieur de Silva?
I only know what is required of me to know, and that is very little.
But you were aware of his work as security at Monsieur de Silva's factory.
I was.
The factory your beloved Luke worked at before he was cruelly taken from this world.
Yes, Detective.
I understand Luke was not only involved in the strikes, but was on the front line.
Yes, that is where he spent his last moments. Standing shoulder to shoulder with his fellow workers.
The resulting riots were a terrible tragedy. One that I hope we will not have to see or experience again. Something that could have been avoided had the Major and his team done what was required of them.
Nobody deserved to die that day. Not my Luke.
Do you blame the Major for his death?
Detective, what kind of question is that?
It is a straightforward one. Mademoiselle, if there is something you wish to tell me, now is that time.
I'm sorry, Detective, I just don't know how to answer it.
Let us consider what we know of the Major. He fronted the militia that attacked the workers at the strike. You were aware of this? You finally had someone to blame for Luke's death. Someone conveniently located in the same house, alone in his study.
No, Detective. It wasn't like that.
Tell me what happened with the Major on the evening of his death.
I was only in here trying to prove what I heard Mr. Beckers say. I was going to report him, I swear. Miss Angeline, you believe me, don't you?
I want to. I am still trying to understand it all myself. Why don't you start from the beginning?
I was delivering Miss Angeline's dress to her room when I heard Mr. Beckers arguing with the Major in his study. They were ever so loud. I thought the whole house would have been listening to what they were saying. Mr. Beckers was talking about the factory strikes and how it was the Major's fault. He told him that if he didn't own up to his crimes, he would go to the newspapers.
I cannot imagine the Major would have taken kindly to Monsieur Becker's threat.
He didn't. He called him some rather uncouth names before Mr. Beckers left and went downstairs, and made sure to keep out of sight. After the altercation between the Major and Master Gideon, you went to speak with him outside, and I thought I could look around his study without anyone knowing. I had to know for sure. If it was true, he deserved to be held accountable.
And did you find the proof you are looking for?
I found a payment from Mr. De Silva, but there was nothing incriminating about that. I was so nervous. I felt like my heart was beating out of my chest.
And then you saw the blackmail note.
I recognized the writing on the envelope. I couldn't believe it. How could he do such a thing to Angeline? To the family that had taken him in?
Common sense would determine the Major was another victim of the blackmailer.
If I'd have used common sense, I wouldn't have been snooping around alone in his study in the first place. I heard the footsteps in the hall, and before I could move, the Major was standing in front of me, demanding to know why I was going through his belongings without permission. I tried to come up with an excuse, but nothing came out, and when he saw the letter in my hand, it was like Dr. Jekyll turning into Mr. Hyde. I tried to move around him towards the door, but he hurled something towards me, and it crashed against the wall.
That would explain the damage to the wall.
I froze. I have never been so scared in all my life. I thought he was going to kill me there and then.
And you thought you would beat him to it?
Oh, Detective, you make it sound as though I had it all planned. He lunged forward and grabbed me by the arm. I tried to push him away, but he was too strong. His grip just got tighter and tighter. If only you had seen the look in his eyes, I dared not even scream. I saw the sheath on his belt. I didn't know what else to do. I didn't want to hurt him, but he wouldn't let go of me.
So you took your opportunity to put an end to it all.
I just wanted to get him off me. I didn't want to hurt him. I reached for it and I jabbed it at him. His grip instantly loosened and I ran straight out the door and didn't look back.
You did not even look to see what state you had left him in?
She had just been attacked, Detective.
Oui, please. Continuez.
I ran down to the pantry looking for Rahana. She took one look at me and knew something was wrong. I explained to her what had happened and she went to find Archie. She said he would know what to do. We went back to the study and he was still lying there, motionless. Archie said that no one would believe me. That if someone like me killed someone like him, I would be sent straight to the gallows. He left the letter so you would find it. He said that if people knew what the Major was really like, then they wouldn't care what happened to him.
So I am to believe that it was Monsieur Sterling and Mademoiselle Rihanna that cleaned the scene and orchestrated a plan that included a fake telephone call and dressing as the Major so that he may be seen. You had nothing to do with that.
I swear I had no idea that is what they had done. Archie just told me to stay out of sight. I am no master criminal.
Then Monsieur Sterling and Mademoiselle Rihanna will be charged for obstruction of justice and impeding my investigation.
Please, Detective, they were only trying to help me.
If they wished to help you, they should have brought all of this to my attention immediately instead of committing more illegal acts.
Surely you haven't forgotten what happened with Florette. She was only accused of stealing a bracelet. I killed a man.
It is a day I have not forgotten, mademoiselle, even for a moment.
Without your help, I don't stand a chance. Please, Detective Poirot, you are the only one that can help me.
Oh, Elisabeth, why didn't you come to me?
I didn't think you would believe me. I felt so guilty. And when it was announced yesterday that he was a victim of the blackmailer, I wanted to tell you everything. I came to find you last night, Detective, but Archie stopped me. I'm sorry.
Come, my little glacials, let us solve this mystery.
Oh, yes, Detective.
The Major's missing knife?
I don't know where it is.
If you have been honest with me until now, I ask that you continue.
I'm sorry, I really don't know. Archie dropped it out of the study window and he said he would deal with it. I couldn't bear to touch the thing.
I had the knife in my possession, and I believe from Mademoiselle Hercule she does not know what became of it. She is unaware of the efforts that Monsieur Sterling and Mademoiselle Hannah went to mask what she had done. Monsieur Sterling was not lying when he said he would do anything for her.
I need a moment.
Motives. Elisabeth stabbed the Major when he won't let her go. Is crime.
This will not get me. Order and method. I must take a different approach.
Why is this here? Here. Was looking for proof of the strikes.
I cannot see the lot. Is there something?
Tuomato in. Then and Inge finding him, he was killed.
Come, my little I must act on. Come, my little
Defensive strike.
This will not get me. I must act on. What a revelation!
Elisabeth Stolle confirms Marcus' claim. The major's death was the result of a defensive strike. Finally, I've solved the case of the major's murder. I must admit, I take no joy in declaring Mademoiselle Elisabeth as the killer, and I wish she had never been put in such position at all.
Oh, yes, Detective.
Merci, Mademoiselle. To the play, wait in my room.
Please, I was only protecting myself. I didn't want to hurt him. He just wouldn't let me go.
Oui, mademoiselle. I know. Mademoiselle tells quite the harrowing story.
I cannot imagine the Major acting in such a way. But Elisabeth could not make up such a story.
After learning what I have about the Major's character this weekend, I would not question the lengths he would go to in order to keep his secret hidden. I know that you share a close bond with Mademoiselle Elisabeth, but you cannot allow your personal feelings to taint your belief of what took place.
She has committed a terrible crime, but she will live with that for the rest of her life. She is not a cold-blooded killer.
If what she says of the Major's attack is true, she acted in self-defense, and in the law's eyes, a crime has not been committed. I will do everything I can to make sure her story is heard and a fair trial is conducted.
I believe the version of events that Mademoiselle Elisabeth has confessed to are true. The Major having fallen into a fit of rage at the prospect of his sordid secrets coming to light, he attacked the young Mademoiselle and drove her to do what she had to protect herself. She put herself in a dangerous position, but there's a small part of me that commends the duty she felt to find justice for her beloved, and the other workers that lost their lives at the Major's orders. If the telephone line is now working, I must call in my findings. With the remaining snow, it may still be some time before they arrive.
Mademoiselle, it is time I addressed the house.
Are you sure? What will you say? What if they do not listen?
I can assure you, they will.
Elisabeth was right, though. She's just a servant. What if they...
Mademoiselle, when Detective Poirot speaks, they will listen. Would you ask the guests to convene in the library?
Of course. And what of the staff?
I have told Monsieur Starling to remain in the staff quarters with the others. When the authorities arrive, they shall be dealt with. You have been of great help to me throughout my investigation, and now that it is over, I have one final request.
You only need to ask.
While I am speaking with the guests in the library, would you watch over Mademoiselle Elisabeth in my room?
You don't think she will try and escape, do you?
In her position, I do not know what she might try. But I trust with you there, any potential ideas of such a thing will be squashed.
Chapter 9. The denouement. Denouement? Denouement.
Detective, you have spent more time making us sit and wait for you than anything else.
Madame Van den Bosch, if you think I have spent my time focused on anything besides uncovering the Major's killer, you are sorely mistaken.
I'm sure you will be eager to share your findings with us then.
All in good time, Madame.
Denouement.
Firstly, to understand the truth of what has occurred this weekend, one must know the timeline of events that not only preceded the Major's death, but succeeded.
We are all well aware of what happened before, Detective. You can save your breath.
You are only aware of what the guilty parties wanted you to believe, but now I shall apprise you to the true events. The reason for us all being here, you know. The altercation between Monsieur Demire and the Major, you know. The body of Monsieur Hagen was found while we were all sat enjoying a most delicious meal. That you also know. But what was kept from us all was that his body lay on the study floor for far longer than was thought.
It was that servant. She found him.
S'il te plaît, monsieur. It was indeed young Inga that found the Major's body lying lifeless in the study.
So it was her.
Monsieur, I will not allow for any further interruptions. I return to the Major's body. If we are to believe the scene that we were presented with, the Major must have been killed during the first course of our meal, a meal that none of you left, even for a moment. Speaking in the evening, you all confirmed one another's alibis, and although there was doubt in the validity of some, I confirmed that they were indeed all true. What I could not understand was how a man came to be found dead, and every guest accounted for at the time of death. That is until I questioned the latter. Monsieur Beckers, I shall now allow you to speak. You saw the Major smoking a cigar in the snow. Is that true?
It is.
False. You saw what you are meant to see. Someone in the Major's coat standing outside, giving the illusion that the Major was still very much alive. Monsieur da Silva, on the afternoon of the Major's death, do you recall hearing a telephone ring?
Now that you mention it, I have not heard a single ring all weekend.
Correct. The telephone lines have been down for the duration of our stay, meaning the telephone call that was received and promptly directed to the Major's study was yet another act of trickery and deceit. But it did not end there. When I entered the study for the first time, it was obvious someone had already been there and falsified the scene to stage a burglary and clear away important evidence, including the murder weapon. What followed was an investigation that had already been hindered, but even those lengths were not enough to derail me for long.
I think we have all had enough of your self-praise, Detective. Perhaps you would like to tell us who killed him now?
Madame, as I'm sure you would expect, it is not as simple as that. What many of you do not know is the discussion that was had between the Major and Monsieur Beckers earlier that day.
What has that got to do with anything? I told you I didn't kill him.
That I know to be true. What you do not know is that it was not only his ears that heard your spoken words.
I hope you are not implying I had something to do with it.
No, madame, there was another. Mademoiselle Elisabeth. You are all aware that the Major was hired by Monsieur de Silva to front the security during the workers' strikes. What very few of you know is that it was the Major's order that instigated the vicious attacks on those unarmed men and resulted in numerous deaths, including Mademoiselle Elisabeth's fiancé, Luc. Monsieur Beckers confronted the Major, declaring that he was to hand himself in. That is what Mademoiselle Elisabeth overheard. Now, knowing the truth, she waited until the Major was away from his study. After he stepped outside following the confrontation with Monsieur Demir's fist, it looked to be the perfect opportunity, or so she thought. The Major returned and found her looking for the proof she required to hand him over to the authorities.
If the maid bumped him off, why hasn't she been arrested?
The events that followed in the study are not those of a cold-blooded murder, but one of a young girl that had no other option but to protect her own life.
Sounds to me, Detective, like you have taken a shine to this young girl and would rather protest her innocence than arrest her for murder, the crime she has committed.
Jeez, this is gonna make for a juicy story.
Mademoiselle, I ask you this. You have seen the Major's anger before, oui?
What if I have?
How do you think he would have reacted if someone was to find proof that he had committed a terrible act, and that if made public, would surely result in his incarceration? Exactement.
It is quite the story you have told, Detective, but all I have heard is that Elisabeth overheard a conversation blaming the Major for her fiancé's death, and she murdered him in revenge. A servant killing a man that is as revered as he was. She will face the noose.
I am not denying that a man has lost his life, but it is not the crime of murder that you all believe. While the Major did not deserve to die in such a way, it was his actions towards Mademoiselle Elisabeth that drove her to defend herself in any way she could. Mademoiselle Elisabeth will be punished, but we will let the law decide the severity of her punishment.
She has played you like a fiddle, Detective, acting the innocent victim. She will be arrested and hanged for her crime, like every other cold-blooded killer.
Here.
Give her what she deserves.
The girl has got to pay for what she's done.
I could not have been clearer with what occurred in the Major study. They all have forgotten their own perceptions of the Major, the terrible crimes he has committed and what he has done to them all in one way or another. I cannot allow for Mademoiselle Elisabeth's sentence to be negatively influenced by those in the house. I must help them to see how their past actions have led to these unfortunate circumstances and losses of life. Perhaps I should remind them all of their participation in not only the workers' strike, but the resulting riots.
Those of you that are calling for the hanging of Mademoiselle Elisabeth, have you forgotten the roles you played? Your actions have been far from innocent.
Look, Detective, I see where you are going with this, but it's not going to work. So maybe the strikes were down to De Silva and Beckers. But don't try and drag me into their mistakes.
Mademoiselle Conrad, if you are so confident of your innocence, perhaps we should begin with you.
Convincing Mademoiselle Conrad to admit to her involvement will be no easy feat. She is strong-minded and has deflected questions in the past. Perhaps a more aggressive approach is in order. Poirot really do love this kind of theater. And I think this is the inspiration for a murder show, or that I watched, Murder in Paradise. That they gathered everyone involved in the case in one room, and then the detective dismantled piece by piece the whole case. And who was the culprit? but they weren't the murderer. You would do almost anything for headline, Nespa?
You don't need to imply it's only me that does. Ask any of my journalists, they'll say the same.
Even if in the process people are hurt? You knew the situation surrounding the strikes and only sought to swell the anger in people and create further chaos. Mademoiselle, you so often have something to say. Now is not the time for silence.
You really are delusional.
Maybe you should just keep your theories and claims to yourself. You obviously have no idea what goes on in my world. I would say stick to honest police work, but it seems that it's not in your field either. Look, it's...
Mademoiselle, I do not have time for your excuses.
Sorry, I
Do
wasn't
you wish to
I
state
was
your
so
direct
focused.
involvement, or should I?
It's not... Okay, fine. Yes, the story was going nowhere. There was a deal on the table, and it was going to be done and dusted. Everything you said is true. I wanted the story. The scoop that would have blown the others out of the water. I never wanted anyone to get hurt. But I can see what I did wasn't right. I didn't think you had this side in you. I can see now why Angeline asked for you personally. You're not like other cops. It's clear it's the law and doing the right thing through and through with you. If you say it was self-defense, I believe you.
We can't just forget what that girl has done. It's not Jackie's fault, or any of ours, that she decided to do what she did.
Monsieur Beckers, you are the last person I expected to defend Mademoiselle Conrad. We talked only last night, and correct me if I am wrong, but you have already declared the role you played. To me, at least.
Yes, we talked. It's just not fair of you to attack Jackie like that, putting words in her mouth until she succumbs to your plan.
I know enough Monsieur Beckers to know that pushing him will not yield the results I need. Playing the role of an ally may be the best way to approach him. Even as a leader of the Union, you were swayed by one that had no part in any Union dealings. Ooh.
Detective, I'm afraid you're misunderstood. That is not how it was. It was not my intention for things to escalate as they did. I could not have predicted that would happen. Jackie was documenting everything to do with the strikes. She wanted our story to be heard and wanted to know how I was handling the negotiations.
And they were handled by yourself?
Naturally. If I cannot handle simple negotiations, I am not fit to be in the position I am in.
Yeah, I have to be an ally, so for example, cynical and sarcastic won't do it. So he has to be direct. Managers can sway, influence and manipulate your every decision.
No, it wasn't like that.
This is not a tale that has been created. The facts I speak came directly from your mouth yesterday. Why is it you cannot admit she exploited your passion and desire for your men in front of the other guests?
Nothing is ever simple, Detective. I'm sure you understand that better than anyone.
Vote for those that... Neutral, probably. You have fought for those that do not have voice. Surely you will not allow another one to be lost in the wind of social discrimination.
You're right, Detective. I have tried so hard to deny my part, but I know only too well that my decisions led to the death of those men. I know I cannot excuse what I've done. I just want you all to know that I am not a hateful or malicious man. I only wanted to prove that I was the right man. I have lived in other shadows for so long. I thought I would be able to finally step into the light and be the one that everyone remembered, not forgot. Monsieur da Silva offered me a deal and I turned it down. I thought I was doing right by the workers. But it was only myself I was thinking about.
What more proof do you need? He said it himself. I made a generous offer to reach a resolution, and he turned his nose up at it.
It was not that simple, though. Oui, an offer was made, but Monsieur Beckers and the workers would never have been forced into that position had their working conditions been satisfactory to begin with.
This is outrageous! Do you plan on blaming everyone for doing their jobs? I suppose it makes you feel better about yourself, doesn't it?
Although Monsieur da Silva eventually opened up, he was defensive when we discussed the matters of his blackmail, and that was private conversation behind closed doors. I cannot imagine he will be forthcoming in front of the other guests. He is going to need some convincing to admit his faults again. I never heard. Insulting.
Me and my decisions. Detective, you are really clutching at thin air. Need I remind you, I am a successful businessman, and I had nothing to do with the Major's murder. If you think otherwise, maybe you have proved us all right, that you aren't the great detective you claim to be. You said it. Anonymous. I don't know them, and it doesn't sound like they know me. When you have something people want, money, they will do anything, including constructing lies to get their hands on it.
Monsieur da Silva, you seem to have forgotten our previous conversations.
I recall them just fine, thank you. A police officer trying to manipulate facts to fit his own agenda. Shocking.
Claims of abuse against your staff and the hiring of a militia. Those are facts that have been twisted to my agenda?
Do you really think this is the first time blame has fallen at my feet? Although I don't think I've seen someone try so hard before to even convince themselves of what they are saying.
Have you not learnt enough already from having your factories closed? If you have any hope to return to normality, you must admit your faults and accept the repercussions.
Apparently anyone can become a detective now. I really don't know how you gained your title.
Through order and...
Order? There's no order in beating down who you consider suspects until they have no other option but to admit something, guilty or not.
Monsieur da Silva, you have stood steadfast, and your opinion on your involvement has not wavered.
I think this is first time I have failed.
Detective, you would do well not to anger my friends.
It was not my intention. I only want those responsible to be held accountable for their actions. The Major's death does not fall on one person alone. Does your position on Mademoiselle Elisabeth's guilt remain the same?
Even after all your attempts, Detective, Felix was still murdered. Self-defense or not, she chose to hide what she had done because she knew what she had done was wrong. And she will be punished for it.
It was not choice to hide anything, madame. If in her position, I ask, what would you have done? The Major has already furiously thrown an object at you, barely missing your head, and now has hold of your arm.
I wouldn't have driven a knife into him, that I can tell you for sure. She is no fool. She intended to kill, not to defend.
Madame Van den Bosch will be a much greater challenge, but my method of approach has worked with her before. If I am to sway her into seeing that Mademoiselle Elisabeth had no other option, I must persuade her that it was the Major's action that drove her to do what she did. You were closer to the Major, his violent temper cannot come as surprise.
Quite presumptuous of you to assume violence is in his nature.
Putting my own feelings towards the Major aside, he was not an honorable man, at least at some time in his life. He must have been for you to allow him in your house for so many years. So, even you confirm he had a history of aggression.
The Major was dishonorably dismissed from the British military. Are you aware of why?
I'm sure that is none of my business. Likewise, it is none of yours.
The Major shot and killed a number of unarmed prisoners as they were bound and terrified, posing no threat. His actions are unforgivable and should not be defended by anyone.
You judge him so harshly, but I return the question. What would you have done in his position? He had made mistakes. I will not deny that. In those moments when a decision had to be made, it fell to him, and he did what he saw fit.
What of me?
You do not know what he had been through.
S'il te plaît, madame. I ask that you consider everything you know of the Major carefully.
My friend has been murdered in cold blood, and you have the gall to ask me to save her? I will see to it that your superiors know of your crooked tendencies and wavering morals. Elisabeth will hang for this. There is no more a fitting punishment for her crime.
I knew that you had a cold heart, but never would I have expected to see you turn on a young girl so cruelly.
Excuse me?
She may have been the one that held the knife, but look at the monster that stood before her. It could not be clearer the type of man. No, I shall refrain from offending men everywhere. The type of creature that he was. He bribed, he extorted, he murdered. And yet when he attacks a young girl and she does us a favor and stops him for good, she is punished.
I'm sorry, Margot, but I am struggling to understand why you have involved yourself in this affair.
Because that girl does not deserve your judgment. You should be ashamed of yourself. You all should be for allowing this to happen.
Countess, I have talked at length of the Major's death, but not the reason for my invitation in the first place. When I last gathered you all together, I spoke of a blackmail ring that was rife in the area, and then of the letter that the Major had received. Mademoiselle Angeline requested my help personally after she received such a letter threatening her family name. She felt I was the only one that could uncover the truth. And uncover the truth I have.
Get on with it, detective. Who dared try and extort my family and then have the gall to allow me to welcome them into my home?
If it was not for the honesty of a young servant, I would perhaps still be looking for the
For goodness sake, it was me.
Margot, how could you?
While it looked as though the Countess was helping the young women at the shelter, she was in fact only finding them positions of employment in wealthy homes to gather information on them and learn secrets that she would ultimately be able to use against them. Monsieur da Silva fell victim to her network of moles and was in turn blackmailed. It was quite the prosperous setup you had, knowing that they would not be prepared to lose their social standing if a secret was to find its way from where it had been hidden for so long.
That cannot be true, Margot. How could you do such a cruel thing?
That is rich, coming from you.
You are one of my oldest friends.
High and mighty, Madame Van den Bosch. You think you can do what you wish when you wish it and there will be no repercussions. You are as bad as all of them.
If I do not get a straight answer out of you, I will march you to the police station myself.
I'm surprised it took the Major this long to start living with you. He must have been on the edge for some time.
How dare you speak to me like that? In my own home.
A home you share with the father of your daughter for so many years, and she still remains none the wiser.
You have no right.
Maman,
Angeline? Have you heard what she has admitted to? She is merely trying to make herself...
is what she says true? Felix, he was my father? That is the secret that the letter was talking about, isn't it? You told me that we had nothing to hide. Detective Poirot, were you aware of this?
Oui, mademoiselle. But it was not my place to repeat.
I don't understand. What about father?
Your maman betrayed the love of a good, honest man and played away behind his back and then kept it hidden for all these years like a lady of the night with her client list.
You will say no more. Angeline, I...
Did Felix know?
This is not an appropriate conversation.
He knew, dear girl. He knew the whole time. It is only dear Edwin that was blind to their deceit.
You will not talk of him like that. You will not talk of him at all.
If I don't, Who will? You never deserved him. You don't even deserve the memory of him.
Countess, there is something that you still have not explained.
What more is there for her to say?
How long were you in love with the Viscount for?
Margot? Is that true?
We were destined to be together. And then you turned up. And I was all but forgotten about.
But you were nothing more than friends.
And you made sure of that, didn't you? From the day you arrived, it was all about what you wanted and what you had to do to get it. You didn't consider Edwin at all. He was just a purse to you.
I loved my husband, and I miss him every day.
Loved him enough to stray?
Both of you, no more.
Please, Angela, let me explain.
Maman, I do not wish to hear anything else from you.
Not even your own daughter wants to hear your lies anymore. Cassandra Van den Bosch, all alone.
How dare you!
While I feel a sense of satisfaction and pride in solving both cases, there is still a part of me that is reluctant to revel in triumph. I am content with the unmasking of Comtesse de Vos as the blackmailer, and knowing that she will pay for her crimes. But it is the justice for Mademoiselle Elisabeth that worries me. She will stand in a court of law, and I can only hope that they can see she acted in self-defense. I must trust that our legal system and justice will prevail, and a fair sentencing will be given. In protecting her own life, she took the life of another. Perhaps the guilt she must live with is a greater punishment than any sentence she can receive. Comtesse de Vos was taken from Nemozinet House in cuffs and placed under arrest. Although she initially tried to plead her innocence, Inga, along with a number of other girls that the Comtesse had found employment for, came forward and made full statements. She was charged with 5 counts of blackmail and extortion and sent to a house of corrections, where she will have a new life to become accustomed to. Monsieur Sterling and Mademoiselle Rihanna were also reprimanded for their participation. While they may not be facing time in prison, tampering with a crime scene and obstruction of a police investigation are certainly not something that houses and new employers will look positively on. Mademoiselle Angeline finally became Madame Demire, and together they took up residence in England, where Monsieur Demire continues to support and fight for fairness and equality in London. I am happy to say that we have remained in contact, and Madame Demire has become a regular correspondent of mine, and the latest joyous news is that they are expecting a child of their own. After Madame Van den Bosch's secret was revealed to the world, her position in the social hierarchy was no more, disappearing in a moment. While she still resides in Belgium, I believe she has had to adapt to a far more modest way of life. A humbling experience for her, I am sure. Madame Demire has not mentioned her maman in a single letter. After the discovery of her real father and how she had been lied to for so many years, I am not surprised if her departure from Belgium was somewhat an act of separation from her maman. Mademoiselle Conrad left Nemozinet House the same way she entered, confident in herself and audacious in her opinions. Her report of the Major's murder at the house and the surrounding blackmails became one of the most talked about stories of the year. While there were certain details of her own involvement that did not make it to print, she was really quite complimentary about the detective at the heart of the case. Monsieur da Silva tried to continue in his position as factory owner and business entrepreneur, but after his accounts and business dealings were investigated following the details of his blackmail being made public in Mademoiselle Conrad's article, his illustrious business empire began to crumble and is now facing an international corporate investigation. Monsieur Becker stepped down from his position as union leader, accepting that he was no longer fit to represent the workforce that, in his words, he had let down on a scale of unmeasurable proportion. Although he is no longer the voice of the workers, he continues to support them from behind the scenes. Monsieur Zachariah and his brother made amends, and returning to his family home, and after sobering up, he was able to find the help that he required. I understand that he is now helping fellow soldiers with similar conditions. And Mademoiselle Elisabeth. She stood before a court and was found guilty of second-degree murder. She was sentenced to time in a female correctional house on the outskirts of the city. Alone in a foreign country with no friends or family for support, it will certainly be a hard life for her there. Her mental and physical strength will surely be tested to their limits, but she could not go unpunished. Without repercussions, we would become a society of animals. The death of Elisabeth's beloved Luc has been at the center of everything. Had those in positions to help not acted with only themselves in mind, perhaps he would still be alive today, and the Major would have paid the price for his own crimes in the eyes of the law, not at the blade of a knife. The blood of Major Felix Egan will remain on Elisabeth's hands. A stain that wherever she is and whatever she may do, she will never be able to wash clean. However, it will remain as a reminder to not only her, but all of us, of what we as human beings are capable of to protect ourselves. We all have something that may be considered shameful or sinful, and it is how we deal with it that shows our true character. Those involved in the riots, the workers' deaths, and the Major's killing believed themselves to be untouchable. Whether it was from their social standing or their confidence in themselves, they learned that everyone is accountable for their actions. There is no exemption because of the suit you wear or the money in your bank account. There is no price to a man's life. It cannot be bought or traded or discarded. No man is better than another, including Detective Hercule Poirot.
And that was Agatha Christie, Hercule Poirot, the first cases. And now I have to figure out what to play next. Tomorrow, of course, it is weekend, so I am playing Trails in the Sky. Yeah, I think Microids... No. I think Microids were the publisher, but I think it was Flaming Griffin who developed this. But the Death and Denial, Microids were the developer of the Death and Denial. What I have seen. This was developed different company, but Microids were still the publisher. Microids must have the license to the property for games. Probably. They had the Agatha Christie, the licensing company. So probably they have a kind of like EA had a deal for making Star Wars games for a while. The exclusive right. Ernesto was young, yeah? more than even J.K. Rowling. Yes, but you have to also remember that J.K. Rowling compared to Agatha Christie is much more new. So I think that is also the case, you know. But yeah, Ernesto was young, yeah. I know him. I have watched his videos. He's a YouTuber. He has turned into voice actor. I think he was one of the bad guys of JoJo Adventures English. And then he is the new voice actor for Kelly in English. He was in the, what was it? Infinite Wealth. That was kind of what comes to games, at least big games, his debut. But apparently it wasn't the debut because he was in this, and I think this is a couple of years old. But yeah. But we missed examine all books in the library. We weren't able to get into the library, so I didn't check. Tap for refreshment during a key moment. Pass the denouement flawlessly. Because I failed. At least Ernesto was the one I failed. And I think also Cassandra. Okay. But yeah. Yeah, I didn't get it. It bothers me. But okay. Probably the greatest detective in the world. I was actually thinking, is there a trophy connected with this? I am actually missing just a couple trophies. Just assuming that all these are trophies. But this is cool. All the achievements, I say trophies, but achievements, are connected to artwork that I get to check. This is cool. One thing, if people say oh yeah, it says there what it is. Yeah, film. Okay. But yeah. That was enough for this. This day also has been quite difficult, so I am not starting anything new today, but tomorrow I am continuing the Trails game, so weekend is up about that. And then Monday, should I play something else first, or should I continue with detective stuff and figure out what to play? I have, like I said, Sherlock Holmes, and then I have a couple of more detective stuff. Okay. Should it be Sherlock Holmes, Phoenix Wright, or Hercule Poirot? I have those 3 detective options. Phoenix Wright, okay. I have to check, but I should have that collection in either my PlayStation, so it is possible. And then Sherlock Holmes is the PlayStation 3 game that is on my list. But yeah, Monday I am continuing detective with Phoenix Wright, and yes, I know Phoenix Wright isn't detective, but it is same kind of game. Like this, solving the crime. But it is a little different. But yeah. There is someone play Marvel Ultimate Alliance. Why not go there? There. Hihihihi. So Monday, Phoenix Wright. Tomorrow, the Rails in the Sky. Defense attorney always managed to finger another culprit somehow. Yes, it's not his job description, to find the culprit. The thing is, he should just find out that, oh, my client isn't guilty. But no, like Matlock, he has to find out who the culprit is. And point the finger on them. Jacoosh! Yeah. It is prosecution's work to find out who the guilty party is. But thank you everybody for watching. Thank you lovely people in the chat. My name is Veno. This was Agatha Christie's Hercule Poirot, the first cases, and I will see you again next time. Same Veno channel. Good night.